have my coffee, and I'm determined to film this video today because I really wanted to film a video for you guys last weekend, but I was actually like sicker than sick, and so I'm still getting over that, and now I'm just dealing with a sore throat and congestion, but I can power through that. So just bear with me. Sorry that I sound like a frog that's just croaking and about to die, but I really wanted to update you guys on where I'm at and kind of just finally share the entire story. And for all of you guys who watched my last video, who left comments, who sent me support and encouragement and prayers, like, I cannot thank you guys enough. This has been one of my main outlets for processing what I'm going through in life, whether it's good or bad, and I am so thankful for you guys. So seriously, I cannot emphasize that enough, and without further ado, let's begin. Okay, so this is my story of how I got to being as low as where I was and how I am now where I'm at today. So the end of 2018, I went through a case of spiritual abuse where I left a church and there were half of my community turned their back on me, and I kind of mentioned a little bit of that in past videos, and I don't want to go directly into it, but the point of starting there is that when 2019 started, I really wanted to just turn the page on all of that. It was messy, painful, traumatic, and I wanted to just rise above it all. And I wanted to start 2019 by putting God first, starting at the basics of my faith again, and deconstructing and untangling what had happened and figuring out now what I think that the local church looks like, who I think God is, and what that meant for me. And so I started 2019 by doing a daily Bible reading plan, by trying to go to church every week, by trying to just really make my faith a priority on every personal level. And I didn't anticipate how hard that would be, but I just kept hitting these walls where I would read scripture and I couldn't help but apply it to the situation from my other church, and I was just so caught up in the fear of being hurt again, and I wanted to protect myself from that. And so I took a step back and I had to kind of distance myself from any type of religious thing because I really struggled with making sense of what is of God, what isn't of God. Who am I to decide those things? Because I certainly didn't want to hurt people in the way that I was hurt, all in the name of God, if that makes sense. I didn't want to label things as being of God that probably aren't His heart and don't reflect His love and grace. It's His mercy for us, and I didn't want to take what had happened to me and do it to someone else, but I also didn't want what happened to me to happen again. So it was just very hard. I could not make sense of it. And in hindsight, I should have sought counseling and I should have sought help, because I shouldn't have left it up to me to try to figure out those things. And so I quit going to church. I quit reading my Bible, and although I still had faith in God, still believed in God, I just kept taking a step back. And one of the distorted thoughts that I kept hearing repeated in my head was, you did all the right things. Like, you lived this very Christian life your whole life, and where did it get you? Well, it got me extremely hurt. It got me to a point where there were being lies said about me. People were actively trying to tear me down and trying to take away the little friends that I had left. So I decided if I lived my life one way and it got me here, then let's live it the other way. And I was also dealing with the fact that I was about to graduate from undergrad and start grad school. And I think I let a lot of that fear fester as well, of like, well, having glaucoma, am I even going to be able to handle grad school? Am I going to be able to step into this career path that I see for myself? Because I don't really know how my vision impairment is going to impact my success. Like, am I going to be able to get the rides I need to get to class? When I'm in class, am I going to see what I need to see? Am I going to feel safe enough and supported enough to get the help I need to be successful in this career? And I was actually terrified of starting grad school, and so I kind of just tried to block it out. And I kind of thought, well, you know that between now and August you can just live your life and do what you want, and then you don't have to confront those things until they actually happen. And so that's also what I did. And I started opening myself up to a lot of new experiences, some good and some probably not so good. And a lot of that involved drugs and alcohol. And I was self-medicating because I didn't really see that I had a future. So I didn't really care if I was engaging in this reckless, risky behavior. And it led me to feel even further from God. Like, I'd already taken a step back from actively engaging and going to church, reading my Bible, you know, listening to worship music in the same capacity that I used to. And then now I'm doing all these things that deep down I know aren't what God wants for me. And so I felt further and further and further disconnected from my faith. Then you get to the end of 2019 and I feel a little bit more like, okay, so I'm not this goody-goody Christian that I've always been. I have been actively self-medicating with drugs and alcohol for months. I'm now in grad school and I'm pursuing this career and it's going okay. I'm actually being successful. Like, I didn't just, you know, instantly fail the minute I started. And I also had all these great new experiences where I stepped out of my comfort zone and I grew, and I'm feeling empowered in those things. And I didn't know, like, so who am I though in the mix of all of that? Like, what parts are things that I want to carry with me? What do I need to leave behind? Like, where am I in the midst of who I used to be and then this complicated mixture of who I was currently? You know, I'm still successful in school. I'm still being responsible in those areas. And, you know, I'm a triplet and both of my sisters moved away, and that was difficult for me. And yet I survived. And so it was like, I'm still my own person. I'm still doing these things and living this fairly independent, successful life. But I'm also still turning to these things to cope. And so therefore there's a disconnect. And I couldn't really figure that out. And I was trying to figure out, am I okay? Am I not okay? Do I actually think these things are right or wrong? Like, what do I believe in all of this? And it left me very confused and very overwhelmed, trying to make sense of it all, because a large portion of that was me lying to myself that I was okay because I'm doing well in school, because I've lost weight, and so that's a good thing, right? Like, I'm losing weight and I'm feeling better about my body, so I have success in that area that I couldn't find success in before, even though some of that was just because I was depressed and anxious and didn't have an appetite and was actually signaling unhealth, but I'm internalizing it as health. And honestly, in the midst of trying to figure out who I was, it was hard for me to make videos because I didn't really know where my voice was anymore. Like, I wanted to be honest and authentic, and I always want to be that way on here, but I didn't know how to do that when so much of my life was also secretive and also self-denial and denial to others. And so I struggled to navigate that as well. But then, as you guys know, I went on a trip to Europe over winter break, and that was great. But there was just a day where something like broke inside of me, because I had gone on this trip. I was having so much fun. I really enjoyed it. But it just, anytime I do something that's incredible and amazing, I'm always in the back of my head thinking, but you're not experiencing it in the way that you fully would want to. Like, I was seeing every single day that if I was on this trip by myself and I didn't have my friend with me, I wasn't going to be able to navigate the public transportation or figure out how to get where we were going and do all those things. Like, I would have struggled really, really, really hard to do that trip by myself, if at all, if I could even do it at all. Because even public transportation, great, I can't drive, I can use this. But then you have to be able to see all the signs, see the bus numbers, and those things are hard for me to do. So it just built up one day, and I just thought, like, I don't, like I'm so far from God that although I think he could still heal me, I felt like I had gotten too far out from his graces. Like, he's not going to heal me. Like, I'm not even going to church. I'm sitting here drinking alcohol, doing drugs. Like, he's not going to use me now. And so I felt like, so now he's not going to heal me. Now I have no purpose. And every day is a struggle because I can't see. And even the things that I like to do and the fun things, like, I feel like I can't do. You know, I can't go sit at a play and enjoy it because I can't see the stage, or, you know, go to a concert or go to a sporting event, play board games, see movies. Like, so many of those things that I enjoy, I have to also learn that a lot of that means I'm sitting there listening and doing the best that I can to see, but knowing that I'm not seeing it fully, knowing that there's stuff I'm missing out on. And it just left me feeling discouraged, exhausted, and depressed. And so I just came back from that trip with feeling like I had no purpose, that I was too far gone, and I didn't know how to get myself out of it. So I didn't feel like I was ever going to get back into a place that I would feel like I could be used by God again, because I couldn't seem to shake like this like darkness. Like, I just couldn't get myself out of it. Like, it's hard to articulate, but I just felt so stuck. And I just lost my entire will to live, as I mentioned in my last video. And so I ended up in a really, really low place. But my friends and family knew I wasn't doing okay, and they were able to get the help I needed because I couldn't. And I started taking an antidepressant. I started going to counseling. I also started working. I started my job teaching 1-year-olds, which is super fun and definitely the reason I'm sick right now, but it really is just such a cool position that I have, working with some of the best staff and the best kids and snuggling babies. And even though I get coughed on, sneezed on, drooled on, snotted on, I absolutely love it. You know, I started grad school my second semester, and, you know, that has been good, and in a way has given me like purpose and helped me do that. So all of those things, I think, have contributed to me now being a lot more clear-headed. I'm no longer coping with drugs and alcohol, which has also cleared my head immensely. And I am just in a lot better, stronger, more empowered place than I was. But with all of that said, so much of the fear stemmed from the fact that I'm visually impaired, and I really, really battle with what that means for my future. And I want to protect myself from getting my hopes up about things that may or may not happen. And sometimes in doing that, I'm actually self-sabotaging, and it's so important to maintain hope and faith. And if there's one thing I've learned in this past year, it's that this journey that I'm on of having faith for my healing is not an independent journey. Faith and hope require a team, because there are times where you're going to lose it. There are times where you're going to be very, very low. And in those times, it is important that you have people around you who can lift you up and they can walk with you on that journey and keep moving you forward when you can't do those things for yourself. And it is true that when you go through really dark, hard, difficult times, your true friends and family and the people that are there for you stick out. And that has also been a major takeaway from this whole experience. So, and you guys are part of that. You guys are part of those people who stuck by me, even when I didn't feel like I deserved it, even when I felt like I was a fraud and that everything that I believed in and everything that I had said in previous videos was a lie, because here I am trying to inspire so that you can have hope and have faith in these really difficult circumstances of having a visual impairment and believing for healing, that God is going to heal me one day, that He can heal you one day. And I lost that. And so I thought, I'm a fraud. Like, I'm a phony. Like, who's going to trust me now? And ultimately, I think what this taught me is it's a journey. I now can see that as the enemy. He will try to kill, steal, and destroy your purpose, your health, your hope, anything and everything that he can. And he really took a crack at me this past year. But I am slowly but surely getting in a better place. I'm already feeling immensely better, but I know it's still going to take a lot of work to stay here and to continue to grow. And so I appreciate that you guys have gone on this journey with me. I hope that you continue to go on the journey with me. And yeah, I'm excited. I'm very busy now with working and being in school, but I'm going to continue to make videos. And so that's all very exciting. And I'm very thankful for you guys. So with that said, please leave a comment, start some conversation, and I will see you guys in my next video.